Hello, everybody. Welcome to another edition of the Computer America Show. We've got two very interesting guests tonight for your listening pleasure. In the second hour, TeenSafe is going to be here talking about how to monitor your child's cell phone and what they do on Instagram and all the different messaging services. We have the company's CEO joining us in that hour. And in the first hour, we're going to talk about Hoopla Digital. Yes, there are other services out there besides Netflix. They do exist, and we're going to have the owner and founder of Hoopla Digital, Jeff Jankowski, is going to be joining us in the first hour. So sit back, relax, and enjoy 2 hours of Computer America coming straight at you right here.
One minute until showtime.
Premium has all the audio you could need for one low monthly price.
15 seconds.
Your show will go live in 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1.
Broadcasting live, it's America's longest-running national radio talk show on computers, Computer America, hosted by national columnist Craig Crossman. Look for Craig's weekly column in your favorite newspaper. This show is being beamed nationwide at ComputerAmerica.com. Keep it here for technology news, computer products, guest interviews, and your phone calls. You're listening to Computer America.
Hello, and welcome into the Computer America Show. It's the nation's longest-running, nationally syndicated radio talk show on computers. Computer America is heard around the world and coast to coast. And I'm your host, Craig Crossman.
And I'm your co-host, Ben.
And it is Thursday here on the Computer America Show, and we're so glad to have all of you. Just a quick update, a couple of things before we get started. I want to do it right at the beginning of the show. Beginning in September, we are moving Computer America after 20 some odd years. I'm on the air over 20. Our 25th anniversary is coming up soon. 24 years and counting. And but beginning September, our first show, we're moving our time slot from 10 to midnight Eastern time to 3 to 5 p.m. Eastern time live. So you can now enjoy Computer America during the day. We're in a new time slot, and we hope that you follow us. We'd love to have you with us live, but of course, you always have the option of listening to us time shifted and listening to us at any time of the day or night, and actually any episode. But if you want to hear us live, 3 to 5 p.m. Beginning September the 1st. So I just wanted to get that announcement out. Also, the other thing is that Blog Talk Radio has officially shut down their high fidelity service for the next few days. They were having some major issues, and so we're coming to you right now. We're back in lo-fi, the way it was before.
You may have noticed.
I'm sorry.
I'm saying you may have noticed.
Yeah, you may have noticed. You may have noticed, but we are. But hopefully, we'll have high fidelity back up and running in the next few days. So we'll let you know when that happens. Stay tuned, and of course, we'll also promote that at the Computer America website. The other thing is that you can list. Computer America website shows all the different places where you can hear the show live and also time shifted, like Apple's iTunes. We've just added 2 new services. Stitcher, you can now hear Computer America on Stitcher, and you can also hear us on SoundCloud. Okay, 2 new ways that you can listen to the Computer America Show. And we're just, as we continue to expand. See, one area we shrunk a little bit, another area we expand, but eventually we're going to get everything up and running and it should be very interesting. Now, if you have a comment or question for our guests, we'd love to hear from you. Pick up the phone, give us a call, 347-884-8881. That's 347-884-8881. We'll get you on and get you through. We also, if you're a little radio shy and you don't want to go on the air, but you still want to get your question answered or comment, whatever, any page at computeramerica.com, all of them on the upper right-hand portion of the screen, there's a submit a question link, and just click that. You'll go to our question submission page, and then you can actually submit the question. You hit the little submit button, and Ben and I will see your question, and we can ask it of your guests. So there's just other ways to interact with us. Now, the other really cool thing that we have on Computer America is, yes, we're a radio broadcast, but also you can now watch the show. So at any of our pull-down menus, you can see it says Show Lounge. Just click that, and the live streaming video will begin automatically. It's just that simple. So you can see me, you can see Ben. Sometimes you can see our guests, but always myself and Ben. And Ben also has the technology to display websites and videos and everything in the background, so you can actually watch what we're doing, or the products are being demonstrated. We can do any of that, and we can do all of that actually. So those are the different ways to interact with the show. But again, 347-884-8881 is the way to get through to our to us. Now, before we get started, anything else you want to mention, Ben?
The only thing I want to mention is, yes, I've been mentioning it all week, but I want to keep the trend going and saying that we are now available on Stitcher and SoundCloud, both. There are our latest 2 new additions. If you use SoundCloud and you don't feel like going somewhere else and finding Computer America, we're going to upload those as soon as the show's over, and those are going to be available to put on your iPod or just add to your account. And yes, you can even download the all the episodes like in their entirety from SoundCloud. So that's also a really nice feature. But the big one is, of course, Stitcher, where you go there and they have a really, really nice app. You should check out the app. Very, very cool. And it will let you listen to Computer America on iPhone, Android, any mobile device, at home, at work, blah, blah, blah. And just check Stitcher out and check SoundCloud out.
Yeah. Okay, good. All right. Well, let's go to our first hour guest. Now, the name of the company is Hoopla Digital. And if you haven't heard of it before, you are now. It brings you hundreds of thousands of movies, full music albums, audiobooks, and more. Wow. Hoopla is a revolutionary digital service made possible by your local library. From Hollywood blockbusters to best-selling artists and authors, not just the hits, but the niche and hard to find as well. You'll soon discover that Hoopla provides you the freedom you've been searching for to experience, explore, and enjoy what you want, when you want, and where you want. It's simple to access and use without the hassle of having to return the items you've borrowed. All you need is your library card, a web browser, smartphone, or tablet to get started. This is a very cool concept. Now, joining us tonight is Jeff Jankowski. He is the owner and founder of Hoopla Digital. Jeff, welcome into Computer America. How are you?
Great. Thanks for having me.
Our pleasure.
Thanks for coming on.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about the company. I mean, was my description kind of accurate? Why don't you tell us, our listeners in your own words, what Hoopla Digital is all about?
Okay, well, Hoopla is kind of a category creating service that enables library patrons to instantly borrow, download, and stream, thousands of movies, music, ebooks, and more from their public library for free, 24/7 with their library card.
Oh, that's simple. Okay.
Yeah, no, so you actually tie in with the library. That probably gives you a big leg up on the competition, because I think some people kind of have a computer at home and they feel they really don't have any need to go to a library, but I hear the library actually offers a lot of services that people don't even know about.
Yeah, libraries are amazing institutions. They offer all kinds of services at their traditional physical locations. And, now with services like Hoopla, you can access them 24/7, greater access to materials without ever having to pay late fees.
So how does that how does that work? I mean, okay, let's say I have my local library card I have a little. Does it work with all libraries, or does it work with only certain participating libraries? How does it work?
Yeah, so your library has to be participating. You can Google Hoopla Digital participating libraries, and we have a map, but we're adding them, constantly. Every month we add about 50 to 60 different systems. We're currently in 800 different public library systems in the United States and Canada. That represents over 4,000 different physical locations. And, we're in places like LA, Chicago, Boston, Seattle, Houston, and Miami, to name a few.
Wow. How many are there? You've already have 4,000. How many libraries are out there? Do you know the number?
There's a lot.
In the United States and Canada, there is actually 20,000 physical locations. There are a lot of small independent libraries, and there are some large ones that have 100 locations.
Now, how do libraries react when you contact or somebody? I don't know if you contact them personally, but if someone from your Hoopla contacts the library and says, "Hey, would you like to join us?" I mean, what kind of reaction are you getting from libraries?
Well, we have a long, rich history. Our company, Midwest Tape, has been servicing public libraries for over 25 years and providing them physical materials, such as DVDs and audiobooks and music CDs and services, for a quarter century. So, we've been the leading provider of media to public libraries. They're very familiar with us. We're very customer-centric. Libraries are our only customer. So, we have a really trusted partnership with libraries already.
All right. So you're not starting from scratch. You already have your foot well in the door at this point. You already have a relationship. And so you're saying, okay, now we're starting this website. And obviously, that obviously is much easier to bring to the table. And do libraries look at Hoopla, what you're offering on Hoopla, as an adjunct or an incentive for people to continue? I mean, the library's not looking at you as competition, are they?
Oh, no, not at all. I mean, their physical locations provide all kinds of great services, from story time to homework assistance to meeting space. And, they're even teaching people how to use their smartphones. I mean, they're great. It's one of the last great places in the world where you can get great customer service. So the physical locations and the materials aren't going away. But we're trying to add, a service that really will allow patrons that don't maybe have as much time, access to greater service hours and watch the materials or read the materials and be entertained when they want on their schedule. So it's really attracting new users, a greater percentage of the community, adding new card holders, such as millennials that, may, not use a traditional library. And so it's really greater access to materials, which is one of the great missions that public libraries have always, faced in their existence.
Now, in other words, libraries have to adapt because technology is continuing to grow. And I guess libraries literally have to embrace the technology, because they don't. I would think they're probably going to eventually wither and die. Well, I mean, they really do have to stay current with all the different technology.
But I think that's some of the stigma, though, because people who haven't been to libraries lately, they still think it's just a big building with lots of old, smelly books and a cantankerous person behind the counter. That's not what libraries are nowadays. They have embraced technology.
Well, Jeff?
Yeah, there's a lot of misconceptions what libraries are in the world, and this is just one way of many that they're staying relevant with their community by offering value. And with our service, we're really conscientious about differentiating from consumer type experiences and staying true to the library experience. So, for instance, our service, we offer downloading and streaming. So, where a lot of services are just streaming services, our service does not have any ads. So, there's lots of different advantages. And then for the library, from an operating perspective, we've solved a lot of problems that they've been faced with the physical materials and other digital services, such as, they only pay for what you use. So with our model, we give you all 350,000 titles, libraries that we currently offer without having to pay any money up front for those materials. So it's access to greater materials. And one of our missions at Hoopla is to eventually offer, millions in titles of every title that's available through the public library.
So yeah, obviously, and obviously, you say this is a symbiotic relationship. It sounds like a symbiotic relationship between Hoopla and the public libraries around the country and Canada. Now, can we go a little bit more detail exactly how the service works? I mean, how do I approach all of this? I mean, what do I do if I want to use the things from Hoopla?
Okay, so you need a valid library card, and you need to make sure you find a participating library. So, there's a lot of libraries now where you can get library cards over the internet without going in, and then other libraries you actually have to go in the physical location one time to get a library card number. So you can check out the map that we have online, and there's a lot of libraries that offer community, maybe if you're in one city and there's a city next door that has Hoopla, they may offer it, and there's also state libraries that will offer it as well. So, chances are that you can find a library in your area, especially if you live in a metropolitan area that's close by that offers Hoopla. And then you need to download, the free app from the Android or Apple store or the Amazon store. Mm-hmm. Or you can visit hoopladigital.com and use the website, and we support all the major web browsers.
Okay. So after I have all the credentials, the documentation I go to Hoopla, and I guess I have to create an account, right? Either with my smartphone or the website. And once I have the account, what do I have access to?
You have access to whatever the library, offers. And, in most cases, that's 350,000 titles. It's every title that Hoopla offers. And we add new titles every day.
Now, are these...
go ahead.
I'm sorry. Are these titles books? Are they movies? Are they're all, as I said, they're all different types of media?
Yeah. Currently, we have ebooks. We have comics and graphic novels. We have audiobooks, movies, television shows, and full music albums. So each, product format is kind of in a different form of, development because this is such a new service. We went in beta, about 2 years ago, and now, we're adding new libraries and new formats. The great thing about it is it's just one app for everything. So it's very unlike commercial services that may have 5 different apps to do all of these services. They may have a comic reader app, they may have a movie app, or an ebook reader app. We do it all within one app at Hoopla.
Now, what kind of titles? I mean, let's just look at the movies for a minute. I mean, are you competing with things like Netflix and Hulu? I mean, you're talking TV shows, you're talking movies. Are you competing with them, or is it a different category? Compare a little bit of what Hoopla has to offer as some of the services just mentioned.
Okay, so we have a wide variety of things. Movies and television shows are in its infancy. We're not going to compete with Netflix on binge watching or television shows, but we have kind of an eclectic mix of from Academy Award winners like The King's Speech and Silver Linings Playbook, to Disney classics like Sword and Stone and the Goofy Movie, to really relevant new documentaries like Sriracha that are award-winning and critically acclaimed, to independent cinema that it has small theatrical releases, and we're releasing them the same date that they're released at the theater. So it's kind of really just a really eclectic mix. There's lots of hidden gems. We have a lot of really good titles from companies like PBS and National Geographic as well.
Exactly. And if you look at Ben's video, you can see the Hoopla website and some of the titles that are there. and what Jeff is talking about. Now, the so as you mentioned, I'm looking at some of them myself. It is a wide variety of different, and these are continuing to grow. I think what makes Hoopla different than any of the other services that we've seen is your association to libraries. I think that's the key. Would you agree? That's what makes you different than from all the other services that are out there.
Yes, but I think there are a lot of other things too. I mean, one,
Okay.
we are extremely passionate about libraries, and we're really excited about technology and the mobile experience in bringing new audiences to libraries. So that really is our basic passion. But we're also passionate about, we know that, we're not going to compete with some consumer services right off the bat, but we're really passionate about differentiating and offering value. So for instance, our app is all inclusive for all of our formats, where, such as, if you use Amazon and you're using mobile, you have to have a comics app to use their Comixology.
Sure.
You have to use a reading app. So we're really passionate about the user experience, making it fun and staying relevant for the user.
Now, is there some sort of registration fee to get started, or is there costs for using Hoopla?
No, there are no fees whatsoever. All you have to do is, get your local library card and sign up once and put your username and password, and you're good to go.
Well, that's an advantage right there.
Yeah, I would assume if a library had partnered up with Hoopla, I mean, the library would be the first one to tell you about this service. That's a lot of value added.
Now,
yeah, I mean, getting the word out to communities is, obviously a challenge with any new service. But yeah, we have a number of libraries that are doing an amazing job at that.
so let me ask you this: the service is free and everything. So, and I don't want to be, I'm well direct about it, but basically, how do you make money? How do you do what it is that you do?
Well, the library pays a fee for what is used. So they pay a fee for what is borrowed, and they control spending by limiting the number of borrows. So each library, will create a different limit. So, for instance, one library may have, 10 items a month, and another library system may offer 4 that you can borrow in a month. And we also have different budgetary controls and a dashboard for libraries to manage their budget.
Okay. Now, of course, libraries when they'll have only maybe so many copies of a book. So obviously, if the 3 copies of the book's checked out and you want to check it out, you're out of luck. Is that not the case with Hoopla? Then they're not limited by the physical media, so you can they might restrict you to how many checkouts of anything that you could have. But if I check out, let's say, Moby Dick, and then 15 other people want to do the same thing, are they going to say, "Oh, sorry, it's checked out, you can't use it right now," or does that not happen?
No, that's the greatest thing about Hoopla, and that's what really makes Hoopla unique from other digital services that the library currently offer, is that all of our titles are available simultaneous. So if everybody in the community wants Christmas music or Christmas movies, everyone can check out the same title, which is, a first in the library world, because, they do merchandising just like retailers. And, you go in at Christmas time in your local library, there are no Christmas books, there are no Christmas albums, or no Christmas videos left. And with Hoopla, the shelves are never empty. You can always find something that's interesting.
So it sounds to me like Hoopla Digital is helping libraries remain relevant, which is the thing. Obviously, it's going to be because look, the internet now really contains just about the sum total of all human knowledge. There's virtually nothing you can.
And there's a lot of human stupidity, thrown in there for a good mix.
Well, there is that too. That too. But as Ben said, a lot of people think, especially millennials, when they don't really not understand the value of a library, the physical library. They think it's just, as Ben said, some stodgy place with old dusty books and somebody very scary there, you don't want to deal with. And that's not the case. Is Hoopla helping libraries get, a better image? Is it helping their image?
Well, I would like to think so. I would definitely say yes, because, I think, if you don't change and adapt and evolve, then, you're eventually going to wither away. And, I think you can stay relevant in a lot of ways. And I think libraries are relevant in lots of different ways outside of, Hoopla. But I think it allows them to serve some of their missions that in a way that they've never been able to before, with the limitations of physical locations and the limitations of speculating on what copies to curate and buy and what collections to buy. We've eliminated a lot of that waste and dissatisfaction out of the business model. And I think that's the really thing that's being really well embraced by libraries and their community so far with Hoopla.
And as I said, there's basically a shift. There is a shift towards the digital world. They have to do that, otherwise, as you said, they're going to wither and die. So, and Hoopla Digital is helping these libraries remain relevant. At least as that's what it appears to me.
Yeah. So, do you think that you guys are, part of the future of libraries? Hoopla is, of course, the first one that I've ever heard about, but wherever there's a good idea, there's a dozen imitators. Is this where libraries are going to go, where they're going to offer online services, they're going to offer subscription services, and kind of do away with the books? And what do you see the future of a library being in 20 years when kids really don't have a need for books? Everyone has a disposable e-reader.
Well, I kind of disagree with, I think the physical book, even millennials and young readers, there's a love of the physical book. It's portable. You don't have to have a charge. It's easier on your eyes. And I think libraries, physical locations are relevant for so many different ways. I mean, you can actually call a library and not even have a library card, ask them a reference question or ask them any variety of questions, or bring your smartphone or tablet in there and they'll show you how to use it. It's one of the last great places on earth to get great customer service. So I think that makes them relevant alone. Then they have all these great community programs as well, like I mentioned earlier, from story time to homework assistance to community meeting space. So I think their physical locations are here to stay because they serve a really great need, and they're really passionate about taking care of their communities. They offer Wi-Fi, they offer computer, assistance and computers to work on. But I think, as more people, as the crunch for time, comes, that, you want to access materials 24/7. Everybody has ADD now. The internet and apps and smartphones have given, people the need to be, have information at their fingertips. So, they need relevant digital services that work every time, that are intuitive, that are fun to use, that are going to help keep them stay relevant with a greater percentage of the community in which they serve.
Well, yeah, the instant gratification, though, you get that with the internet. For example, if you mentioned, I can call a library and I need some information from the librarian, but I have to make the call, I have to speak to someone and explain it. Where if I just go to Google, I can 99 times out of 100, I can just type what I want and get it immediately or instantly, literally. So how do libraries compete with that?
That's true, but there's also a lot of bad information on the internet.
Wow.
There's a lot of misinformation on the internet. It's just like, watching the local news. I mean, you have to draw your own conclusions sometimes. And I think, librarians are trained in answering questions and understanding legitimate sources of information. And, that's what makes them relevant. Google makes it so easy, and Google is a wonderful service, and, I use it 1,000 times a day. But there are some questions that you can't get clarification on. You really can't. And, that level of customer service, there are things that human beings can do that machines and computers can't. And libraries are great at those things.
Okay. Now, Ben had mentioned that there are others. Are there other digital library services out there like Hoopla? I think you mentioned Overdrive and Freegal. Are the two that come to mind? Are they? But how do you differ from the services like that?
Okay, well, most of those services have one user, one copy models. So they're really analogous to the physical world. So if you want the latest John Grisham book, you have to guesstimate how many copies to buy to serve your public. Mm-hmm. So that leads to waiting lines and, dissatisfaction and a first user experience, or somebody that's not a library power user being dissatisfied with the service and not coming back. The great thing about Hoopla is there's no waiting and all the titles are available. So it's really a consistency among user experience. So it leads to greater retention for users and customers wanting to come back and engaging with the service. So we really changed the business model. There are lots of other digital services, but I think it's because of our business model and the fact that we're really mobile centric, where some of these other services are really more PC centric. So we really have a true mobile experience. We have lots of talented developers that have really tailored it to iPhones and Android and tablets. And you'll see that in the user interface and the general experience of using Hoopla.
All right. Well, listen, Jeff, we're coming up to our first break here, and then I got a couple more questions for you. And so I'm going to put you back and hold, and then we'll continue right after the break. You're listening to Jeff Jankowski. He is the owner and founder of Hoopla Digital. And Ben and I are going to continue that. Also, we have Computer and Technology News brought to you by Slimware Utilities, the official optimization software of Computer America. We'll be doing a couple of stories there as well. In the meantime, we're going to take a short break, and we will be right back. We've got a news tips bulletin review from Marty Winston. That's all coming up here on Computer America. Stay with us.
Sometimes disaster strikes. Data can be lost due to many different reasons. Accidental reformatting, power spikes, virus attacks. Zero Assumption Recovery provides a suite of highly effective and thorough data recovery software for Windows operating systems. ZA is suitable for home users and small businesses who need a powerful data recovery solution for Windows and Linux file systems.
Go to z-a-recovery.com.
Sometimes disaster strikes. Data can be lost due to many different reasons. Accidental reformatting, power spikes, virus attacks. Zero Assumption Recovery provides a suite of highly effective and thorough data recovery software for Windows operating systems. ZA is suitable for home users and small businesses who need a powerful data recovery solution for Windows and Linux file systems.
Go to z-a-recovery.com.
Hi, this is Craig Crossman, host of the Computer America Show. You have important meetings to schedule. Your company's getting ready for its IPO, and you're in charge of the PTA fundraiser this month. So how do you coordinate everyone to be available at the same time? Are you still using emails, phone calls, even text messages to schedule meetings with a group of people? How's that working out for you? That's so great, huh? It's a fact that every day, millions of people suffer from scheduling headaches. Well, with Doodle, scheduling meetings with a group of people is quick and easy. With Doodle, you can easily propose available times to each member. Each one checks off the times that they are available, and then you simply pick the time that works best for the group, all in an easy-to-read display that integrates with your existing calendar. Nothing could be more simple. Give Doodle a try for free, and like millions of Doodle users, you'll truly see how easy it is to find the perfect date and time for all your meetings. That's www.doodle.com.
No, they said swing state, not swinger state. Oh, it's Marty Winston with a news tips bulletin review for Computer America. This time, the Kensington 48-watt 4-port USB charger. You know, one of the hottest trending pastimes these days is the extremely popular running out of USB charging ports. So when we got this one in, we thought, 48 watts, that's 12 watts per port. That comes out to 2.4 amps, the same specs cited by the product. So that checks out. The AC connection's a two-prong line cord, so it won't cover a second outlet. The business end is a small rectangular block with 4 ports up top and venting slots on the side. Doesn't get warm. Bottom line, the Kensington 48-watt 4-port USB charger is among the best answers out there for keeping your gear charged and at the same time, your AC socket's available. Marty Winston with a News Tips Bulletin Review for Computer America.
Welcome back to the Computer America Show, and it is 33 minutes past the hour. I'm sorry. That was Marty Winston with a News Tip Bulletin Review.
Yep.
And getting back to our first hour interview, we have Mr. Jeff Jankowski here with us. He's the owner and founder of Hoopla Digital, and it's a great service that if you have a participating library near you, and I must say, great service, and I'm liking everything about it, that it's free for existing users. But you guys have a lot of work ahead of you because, I mean, there are more libraries than McDonald's in America, and that always surprises people. Like, 800 locations and growing is good, but I mean, I think it's like 16,000 in the U.S. alone. So you got some work ahead of you.
Yeah, we're in actually 4,000 locations in the United States and Canada. There's actually 20,000 locations in those two countries. So yeah, we have a lot of work to do. Not only with our library systems, but vendors and getting better content and improving our apps and our user experience. And we're pretty busy every day.
Why aren't libraries just? Obviously you have wonderful material. It seems to be like a win-win situation. I mean, why aren't more libraries? Is it that they just don't know about you, or they just or they do know about you and they're just resistant? But why aren't you in more? Jeff, what's the holdup, if there is one?
Well, we've gone from 10 locations to 4,000 locations in 2 years.
Okay.
So,
Yeah.
I mean, that's
Why
pretty,
so slow, I guess, is what we're asking.
and we're adding 50 or 60 new locations every month. But yeah, I mean, it's, there are, a lot of, government institutions, public libraries on fiscal budget years. So it has to do with budget cycles. Some actually have bids, paperwork. There's lots of challenges within the library environment.
And you have to comply. You have to jump through all those hoops, I guess, or they make you in order to make these things happen.
Yeah, there's a lot of work involved.
All right. Well, I understand.
So let's make it maybe a little bit easier for you here on the show tonight. If, let's say, we have a listener who frequents our library, loves our library, and says, you know what, this service would be great for my location. And they go into their local library and they say, hey, I just heard about this thing called Hoopla. You guys should really check it out. Is there a way for, maybe library workers or, owners or something like that? Is there a way for them to contact you in some manner and, try to get the ball rolling?
Yeah, yes. If you go to hoopladigital.com, there's a place for comments and suggestions. You can also contact your local library and tell them that you've heard about Hoopla and you've checked out the service. Because anyone can just check out hoopladigital.com or download the app and see what titles that we have available, and and see what kind of things that we offer, and from a streaming and downloading standpoint. So yeah, I would encourage listeners to reach out to their public library, let them know that they're interested in the service. Encourage users to ask us any questions they have about the service, or in areas that they would like to see us improve, or service areas that we would like to try to obtain Hoopla. So I'd welcome all those things.
So people want more information about it, they can go to the website at the website, which is Hoopla Digital, HOOPLADIGITAL.com, hoopladigital.com, or just go to our website at computeramerica.com. We have a link to the Hoopla Digital website, so you can see that there as well. Anything else that you want to let our listeners know about Hoopla Digital, Jeff, that we may not have covered? There's so much to talk about, but I just wanted to make sure that we got all the information that you want. Oh, I see that there's something where you announced a deal with DC Comics. That's interesting. Tell us a little bit about that, and are there any other major content deals sort of in the pipeline?
Yeah, we're really excited about comic books. We've developed kind of a proprietary, way to view comic books on mobile. It's similar to a couple consumer services that are out there, but it's the first of its kind in the library world. It's called Action View, and you can actually view a comic pane by pane on your mobile phone or your tablet. So it's a really immersive way to view a comic book, and you can do it mobilely. So we're really excited about DC. We started with their essential 25, things like Batman and Superman and Justice League. Their essential 25 is like their best 25 graphic novels of all time. So we have those, and we're still adding, hundreds of their titles, every week into the fold. Currently, we have 2,500 different comics. We announced today, as a matter of fact, a deal with Image Comics, and they're the third largest comic book publisher in North America, and they have the Walking Dead series and Invincible and Spawn Origins collection and Saga and some great titles. So we're really passionate about our comic book experience, and it's been really well received. We've only been offering comics for 2 months, and we have a lot of excitement and a lot of new users added every day to that service.
Okay. And you mentioned DC Comics. Any other major content deals in the pipeline for you?
We're really excited about ebooks are fairly new too, but we just recently signed, three really large publishers to, experiment on the audiobook side. So we're offering audiobooks from Hachette, Simon & Schuster, and Macmillan now. Wow. For the first time. So our audiobook offering is just really popular. We have over 20,000 titles. And, libraries are one of the great champions of audiobooks, and they're becoming more and more popular. So people that commute or, you're doing chores around the house, you can listen to a 10, 20-hour audiobook way quicker than you can, read the book, and you can retain all kinds of great information or be entertained. So, audiobooks are becoming a great popular feature. And you can also download them to your device. You don't have to stream them for offline view, listening as well. So that's a really popular service.
Yeah, I don't know. Ben is a really fast reader. So.
Yeah. Well, actually, something you just said, it kind of confused there, because I think earlier in the show we mentioned that you guys partner with libraries, and then you offer the content from the libraries through online means, and great. But now you're saying that you're making deals with like DC Comics. Like, are you going at this in two ways, where you're trying to make your own content deals that will be exclusive to Hoopla, and then also offering library, or is all the content done through libraries?
No, we're doing all the curation for the library through Hoopla, and offering all of these titles, without them having to curate them themselves. So our goal, our mission, is to eventually offer every title. We want to offer 5 million titles like Amazon offers them. So, ebooks, audiobooks, movies, television shows, and more, and even other formats that don't exist. Our goal is access to information and really empowering the community to discover the materials that they're interested in, when and wherever they want to listen to or watch them or read them, and find their own voices instead of having to be limited by a certain number of titles that are available at their local library.
All right. Well, again, very impressive, and we're going to encourage all of our listeners to check out Hoopla Digital at hoopladigital.com, and take your library card, see if it qualifies, and or if not, as you said, you can find a library that'll even let you register online and take advantage of all the content that's being offered by Hoopla Digital. Jeff, I want to thank you for being here with us on the show tonight. Really interesting, and best of luck to you. Continued success with Hoopla.
Thanks for having me, Craig and Ben. I really appreciate it.
All right. Thanks again. Take care and have a good evening. Good night.
Good night.
Good night. All right.
Good night.
Okay, night. All right, there you go. So again, Hoopla Digital. You can hear for your, you can see for yourself and hear for yourself. Check them out at hoopladigital.com. And now it's time to do some computer technology news. Let's do it. Tonight's computer and technology news is brought to you by Slimware Utilities, the official optimization software of Computer America. You can visit them at slimwareutilities.com to clean, speed up, and optimize your Windows system. Slimwareutilities.com.
All right, and so with news, we're going to officially start, and we're going to start with how technology is helping one of the most horrific scenes in the country, and that is the driving situation in Florida. If you've never done it, it's not fun, and it's I'm not sure if it's the nice demographics, to put it bluntly, or if it's just people are so eager to get out of Florida that they're driving recklessly, or I don't know, or it might just be the heat. The heat here is unbearable. So here we have an article from Popular Science. Author is John Coy, and it's self-driving cars coming soon to Florida roads. Yeah, so no humans aboard. And yeah, if you're watching our video, I'm gonna play the video real quick, and it's gonna show you a bunch of things. But just go over the article. Self-driving trucks from Pennsylvania firm Royal Truck and Equipment will be on Florida roads by the end of the year.
Wow.
The future is now, folks. Yeah, so and they said that the trucks, they're part of the Department of Transportation pilot program and can navigate by following a pre-programmed lead car via remote control or by a GPS waypoint navigation. They say that the self-driving tractor trailers have already been testing in Nevada under a special state-granted autonomous license. And though, like the Google autonomous car in California, they require a human driver to be on board. So the modified medium-duty Freightliners will be used for highway construction projects. Again, if you've ever been in Florida, there are a million of them. They'll be used for highway construction projects, and safety was cited as a key factor in removing the driver from the equation.
Wow.
That happens a lot. People get injured all the time. People get injured all the time when you have these giant construction trucks, and it could be, people are rubbernecking and then they rear end one of these Freightliners, and it's a deadly situation to begin with. Or the Freightliners, they unfortunately have to navigate a lot of dangerous obstacles, and they may accidentally hit a person or hit another car. I've seen it happen before. It's not good. So the article kind of goes into a little bit further, saying that repairing and upgrading active roadways is always a dangerous proposition, and it's among the most perilous states for road construction workers. Again, that's Florida. So to address the safety concerns, the Royal Truck feature an impact attenuator to insulate crews from a potential collision. And again, if you were watching the video, this thing is awesome.
Yeah, it is. It's wow.
If you didn't think the future was here yet, there's your answer. Self-driving cars are going to be on the road by the end of this year in Florida, of all places.
Wow. Well, we certainly can use it, but it still requires a manned vehicle in front of it. So
that's better than we've ever had, Craig.
Yeah, I'm not saying it isn't, but I'm just saying. But
there's no one inside that truck. That's pretty impressive. To going from a person having to be in that truck at all times to now you can haul as much stuff as you want in the truck behind you, and then just have, again, it takes a special license to drive one of these things, but it doesn't take a special license to drive the truck in front of it. So it's going to save on manpower, and it's just going to be a very, very, I think it's going to be kind of a futuristic thing just to see in person for the first time. Just driving along, and you look over at the giant truck beside you, and there's no driver. There's no one in the cab. It's just cruising along.
Yeah,
it's going to be freaky.
How is that different than just towing something, with a long, just towing the vehicle, an unmanned vehicle, because the driver still has to in front still is basically controlling everything the car is doing. So technically,
it says either a remote control. It's three different ways that this is controlled by the lead car, which we've been talking about.
Mhm.
There's a remote control. So either someone's sitting back in some office and actually controlling it from that area, remotely. And the third way is by GPS waypoint navigation. So you enter, 15, 20 GPS coordinates, and it'll stop at it'll hit each one of those till it reaches its destination.
The second option, which is the person remotely control, it sounds more like it's like a drone on wheels. I mean, they're still controlling it remotely. It's a human being controlling it. It's not true autonomous driving. It's like a large.
But the third point, I mean, if you're looking for the technical, this is autonomous driving, then you want the third point, which is GPS waypoint navigation.
Yeah. Okay. All right. And all three of those are coming to Florida by the end of the year?
Well, they're all in one.
There
are three different options for the same truck. And again, these aren't for, these are not for buses. These are not for garbage trucks. These are not for personal cars. These are strictly the Freightliners that are used for road construction.
Okay. All right.
On highways.
All right. Well, it sounds cool. Talking about things coming out in December, the end of the year, according to Engadget, the Turing Robotics liquid metal phones are coming. And you go, what? What is that?
Never even heard of it.
Yeah. The rectangular encrypted Turing Robotics phone
looks very nice.
Yeah, and is evidently ready for release. In fact, it's going to start shipping on the 18th of December, which is also when Star Wars hits the theaters. And yes, the company admits it's not a coincidence. The Turing phone has a 5.5-inch 1080p screen. It features encrypted communication that's built from a metal alloy called liquid morphium. Liquid morphium, which is apparently stronger than titanium. Okay, liquid morphium. Okay. Turing Robotics already gave people the chance to reserve units some time ago, but if you want the Dark Wyvern special edition, you can pre-order one on the 24th of September. Dark Wyvern's 128 gigabyte model will set you back $1,000, $999 actually, which costs quite a bit more than its ordinary counterpart, which is $870. The super limited Dark Wyvern Gladier only
Glader. Something.
So only 3,000 units are going to be sold. Is even more expensive with with its $1,299 price tag. We don't know exactly what's going to make it so costly, but it's again. It's the same day Apple slated to launch its new iPhones. So.
For $300 more, I'm betting the only thing that makes it more expensive is 1 of 3,000, 2 of 3,000, 3 of 3,000.
Serialized on it.
Just a collectible. And just the neat little thing is, I'm pretty sure, if I'm not mistaken, I've been playing the game like crazy, Destiny. The phone. This robotics or Turing Robotics liquid metal phone, that little symbol in the bottom left on the picture is the symbol for Destiny. So maybe some tie-ins there with some video games, but this is the first time I've ever heard of Turing Robotic.
Yeah, is it running? Is that an Android phone? It looks like Android.
That's not even Android. I don't know what that is.
What that is? Yeah, I don't recognize it, so I'm not sure what it's running. But anyway, I don't know. It looks maybe because it's a pre-version. I mean, the edge. It looks like it's looks a little clunky to me. But maybe, yeah, I don't know.
Oh, it looks sleek.
It doesn't look sleek at all. It looks. I don't know.
I like it.
All right. Well, there it is.
If I had $1,000, if my phone budget folder had $1,000 sitting in it,
yeah,
I would put $300 more into it and go for the special edition. This thing, I think, looks really, really cool. I mean, Craig, you're usually drooling over things that are gold. This thing, it looks solid gold, is tougher than titanium.
Maybe it's just a bad picture of the unit. I mean, it's got. Maybe it's just.
Well, it's a phone on top of 2 other phones, right?
Yeah, I know that. Yes, I see that.
Okay.
All right. I mean, you look at the bottom and you can see the seams on the edge of it. It looks like it's kind of unfolded together. Funny. I don't know. It doesn't look It doesn't look seamless. I mean, you can see all the seams on the bottom. You know.
I have an iPhone right here. You can see all the seams on the. What are you talking about?
No, look. See around the edge, the bottom. You can see It's just like it's.
You're nitpicking because it's not an Apple product.
Okay. All right.
I think that's what it is.
Okay.
All right. So next story. How about this one? This one's pretty cool. Facebook. For everyone who predicted Facebook's failure, launch, dying, decay, death, destruction, mayhem, pestilence, whatever you may think was happening with Facebook. On Monday, yes, this past Monday, Facebook had 1 billion people use it in one day.
Wow.
1 billion people use Facebook in a day.
Wow.
So yeah, and this is from a post on Facebook by Mark Zuckerberg saying, quote, "We just passed an important milestone. For the first time ever, 1 billion people use Facebook in a single day. On Monday, 1 in 7 people on Earth use Facebook to connect with their friends and family. When we talk about our financials, we use average numbers, but this is different. This was the first time we reached this milestone, and it's just the beginning of connecting the whole world." Blah blah. He's so proud, and yada yada yada. And yeah, and thank you everyone for helping Facebook reach that milestone. But yeah, it's as you said, it's just the beginning of connecting the whole world.
Yeah.
1 billion people.
1 billion people.
And again, it's kind of crazy to think about because 1 in 7 people, 7 out of 7 people don't have the internet. Don't have ready access to the internet.
Mm-hmm.
I would be surprised if 2 or 3 out of 7 had access to regular internet, let alone Facebook.
Wow. Well, it's possible. I mean, that's an incredible number, you know, and to have to do. I mean, did you ever watch the Facebook movie? You know, it was the story of Facebook that was created. It was really interesting.
No, but that's not the point I'm getting at. The point I'm getting at is Facebook probably has about half of all internet users on its system, and for 1 billion people, that's some very, very large percentage of entire people with internet. Again, you know, they kind of said 1 in 7 people on Earth, but at the same time, as I said before, 7 out of 7 don't have internet. So it's just Facebook is a beast. It is so big. Of course, collecting all that data, which is very, very valuable, which is, you know, kind of given the price of Facebook. But at the same time, it's just very, very impressive.
It is. Well, the story, again, from Popular Science, I guess we're all waiting for the iPhone 6S, and evidently it's official. Apple's iPhone 6S event is official. This was just posted about 9 hours ago. Apple has confirmed the iPhone 6S announcement event for September the 9th at 10 p.m., 10 a.m. Pacific time. And although the company isn't saying what will be featured at the event, it has left several hints in the iPhone's voice assistant Siri. When you say to Siri, "Give me a hint," the voice assistant replies with a cryptic message. "The only hint I can give you right now is a hint of lime." And there's a big announcement on September 9th. So, and again, it's going to be the 9th of September. It was expected to take place on that date, and it's exactly the same date Apple held their fall event in 2014 as well, when the iPhone 6 and the Apple Watch were announced. Okay. Some people feel that Force Touch will be introduced that allows touchpads and touchscreens to have access. But you know, the point is we don't know. In addition, many expect iOS 9 to be rolled out to existing iPhone 6 handsets and any new ones that are announced as well. And of course, you're expecting the usual: better camera, faster processor, thicker design to prevent bending, these are all things that are going to be expected from the 6S.
Which
So-
is nice because even my phone bent, and I am none too pleased about it.
you have a 5S. How could it bend?
It bent.
Wow.
Yeah. You put it down on the surface, and I don't know if you guys can hear this, but it's that tapping noise is the phone.
Wow.
That is, wobbly when you put it down on a flat surface. But, how many times do you really put a phone down on a flat surface? It's, few, if any.
Yeah.
That was sarcasm.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, we're about ready to go to our second hour break. Our guest is going to be from TeenSafe, and it's a monitoring service that parents can use to monitor their child's iPhone or their Android phone, and even other services out there, like Instagram, that type of thing. And the idea here is that parents can monitor the kids and see what they're doing.
We promise it's not that creepy.
Well, we hope not. And we're going to have the company's CEO on the program and joining us shortly. In the meantime, let me just say that tomorrow we're going to be giving away our Logitech prize. We do it every single week, and the prize is the Anywhere MX2 wireless mouse, valued at $80. And if you want to get a chance to win it, and you still have time, and what you just need to do is go to our social media contest page. It's right there with the pull down menus, and you can see for yourself how easy it is to enter. There's the number for you. Now, what you just do is every social media event that we use, when you subscribe to it, you get an additional entry every single week. And you only have to do it one time. And so that's how you do it. Listen, we've got TeenSafe coming up in this next hour. You're listening to the Computer America Show. We've got a News Disciplines review from Marty Winston, another one. And we'll be right back in just a few moments. Don't go anywhere. You're listening to Computer America.
Broadcasting live. It's the only national radio talk show on computers to air every weeknight. Computer America. Hosted by national columnist Craig Crossman. The first hour's behind us, but there's still more of tech news, tech talk, and your phone calls. We're being beamed nationwide at ComputerAmerica.com. You got computer problems? Bring them on. You're listening to Computer America. Computers run the world, and we run computers. Call us or send us an email to live@computeramerica.com.
Hello and welcome into hour 2 of the nation's longest running, nationally syndicated radio talk show on computers. This is the Computer America Show. And I'm your host, Craig Crossman.
And I'm your co-host, Ben.
No, okay. I think I gave you the wrong extension. I think it's supposed to be 105.
No, I called both 105 and 101.
Mm-hmm.
No response. So if for anyone out of the loop on this little part of the conversation, our second hour guest is unfortunately a little bit missing in action. So we're not gonna roll him out. We're not gonna say, okay, he's not showing up. We're gonna say we're gonna keep doing computer technology news until he calls in.
Okay.
Potentially to the end of the show, but we really hope he calls in because TeenSafe is a very intriguing product and we'd like to bring that to you. But circumstances are as they are.
All right. Well, in the meantime, we'll look for him. And right now, this next story from Engadget talks about the Tesla Model S. Really
hilarious.
It broke Consumers Reports rating system. The 2005 Tesla.
Yeah, you didn't know that was possible, did you?
No, I didn't think that was possible.
I bet the consumer didn't either.
We're talking about the 2015 Tesla Model S P85D. Is officially the highest rated vehicle ever tested by Consumer Reports. And that's insane because Consumer Reports, I mean,
they test everything.
Everything, literally. I mean, it's every vehicle out there. In fact, this rating is so good, it actually broke the magazine's rating system, achieving 103 points on a 100-point scale. The reviewers call the sedan a glimpse into the future of the auto industry. They actually had to reevaluate their criteria to give the EV a maximum score. That is amazing. Consumer Reports.
But I think at the same time, it doesn't tell you anything we didn't already know. Tesla has, by many, many stories that we've covered here on the show, by guests on the show that have talked about their Teslas, no one hates their Tesla. No one says a bad word about the Tesla. I always refer back to the story of a gentleman who was driving down the road, battery malfunctioned, slammed his car into it. No, he got in a car accident, slammed his car into a tree, battery failure. The Tesla caught fire and burned up. And after it was all said and done, he said, "That was the best car I ever had. I'm already on the waiting list for another one." Like, I can't find anyone who says anything bad about a Tesla.
Wow. I mean, the article goes on to say that it excelled in everything that the Consumer Reports threw at it. With a 0 to 60 time of 3.5 seconds, it was the quickest vehicle they've ever tested. At 87 miles per, was it GE? That's the electric rating. The sedan was also even more efficient than the previously tested regular 85 kilowatt model. Things were so amazing that Consumer Reports has lowered the drawbridge on its website's paywall to let anyone check out the full ratings. Wow. Now, of course, while the score is perfect, it's more than perfect. The car costs nearly $128,000, so it makes it the most expensive vehicle ever tested by Consumer Reports. And for that amount of money, the reviewers were looking for a little something more than just tech comfort. They wanted ventilated seats. They also would like some more knobs and buttons on the dashboard. Plus, oh my goodness, the car locked the driver out one time. Oh my gosh.
See, but is that user error?
They're picking nits now. I think is what they're doing.
Well, that's all you can do when a car receives the highest possible. Receives a 103 out of 100.
Hmm.
When it receives a 103 out of 100, all you're left with is nitpicking.
Yeah, exactly. That's it. But there it is, the highest rated car.
I think the only thing keeping people from buying Tesla at this point, everyone wants them. There is almost no secondhand market. Like when people own Teslas, they're still so new that everyone who's pretty much purchased one, they're either marked up beyond what they're sold for from Tesla, or they're just not selling them. So people can't get their hands on Teslas secondhand, and they're very, very cost prohibitive up front. It's just $128,000 for a car. That's a lot. That's more money than I bet some people have spent on all their cars in their entire life at one time.
Yeah.
That's a crazy amount of money.
Yeah, it is.
So it's prohibitive. But if they could just come out with a more cost affordable, user friendly car, like I believe Tesla is coming out with a $40,000 to $50,000 SUV, and that is a step in the right direction, but still very expensive for car as most consumer cars go. And they're trying to bring the cost down. The cost isn't down yet, but while the cost isn't down, they obviously are not scrimping on how well the car is made. They're not. It's the best made car possible for $128,000. So it's nice to see them not compromise integrity and keep the price up, even though people would mob the stores if they could get a cheaper priced Tesla that was maybe manufactured or created using subpar parts and outsourced work. Not so. So it's one more feather in the cap for Tesla. So with that being said, we're going to move on to this next story. And this one is actually pretty interesting. It's really nothing more than a picture, and it concerns probably a lot of you. This isn't being reported by any news agency right now. This isn't being reported by any tech website. And so we thought we'd just bring you this picture. It's a picture of the current ongoing outages in the continental United States as of about 2 hours ago. And it's weird that this hasn't been picked up by anyone, because this shows that there are massive outages in the Northeast, in Texas, in California especially, and all up around the all up around the Great Lakes. There are just massive internet shortages, and I would say a couple million people are being affected by these outages. They're working to resolve them since this picture was taken. I believe it was said that about 3 million people have since restored their internet. But to have, I think initial estimates are going to put this at about 12 million people. But for 12 million people to all lose their internet at once, and for no one to even talk about it, is a little surprising. So hopefully all of you out there have had your service restored. But if you haven't, just know that you are not alone. And also, how are you possibly listening to this show if you don't have internet access? That's just weird, folks. Don't do that. Or do that. So with that picture in mind, we're going to move on to yet another story. This one hopefully not so doom and gloom, folks. I promise. In fact, it may even kind of invoke those feelings of childhood. Who hasn't played with Legos? Just taking it out of the box. My brother always used to construct whatever the Legos came with. There was a box. It was either an X-Wing, it was a spaceship, it was this, it was that. And I broke everything apart and build whatever I felt like. And so, but whatever you feel like doing, Legos had a special place in a lot of people's lives. Come today. This is an article from Wired, and it's maybe a dream you never even knew you had, but once you hear about it, you definitely will. So this is, and if you're watching the video portion of the show, you can see just what you can do with these things.
Wow.
Huge Lego bricks for building real stuff, as in they're giant Lego bricks that work just like Lego bricks, but they're huge. They're giant.
Is this from Lego? I mean, this is amazing.
This is from this is actually a product called Everblock. So I don't believe this is directly from Lego.
Well, that's the first thing that pops to mind is that these things are they're copyrighted. They can't just make these things and just make them bigger. I mean, is Lego
legality aside? Let's talk about the story, and then let's see if they mention anything about legality in this.
Okay.
But these inventions, they're okay. So let's tell you about the life-size version of these Lego blocks. The founder of Everblock, which is a modular of full-scale plastic blocks that, like Lego, stack on top of one another and lock together with raised lugs. So it's more than a toy. It can you can use the polypropylene blocks to build fully functioning furniture and structures. They come in 14 different colors and 3 different sizes, which 1 foot long, 6 inches long, and 3 inches long. If you think of the raised lugs on top of the block, you're gonna have your 6 peg, 6 peg, 4 peg, and 2 peg. So just like Legos, and they can weigh anywhere from 2 pounds to a quarter pound. So anywhere from 2 pounds and a foot long to 3 inches and a quarter pound. These things are massive for blocks. Yeah, so they're massive for blocks, and they say that at real life scale it gets more challenging. People start to worry about stability, It's no big deal if your 3-inch wall topples, but it's a problem if your 15-foot wall does. The key is to take lessons from Lego and stack the blocks like bricks, staggering them so a brick covers the seam of the two below it. Each block also has at least one channel that allows for power cables, reinforcing wooden dowels, or LED strips to snake through as a means of illuminating or stabilizing larger structures.
Huh. Wow.
They've actually thought about what can you do within them, so that's very, very cool. And just going through some of the pictures here, it's crazy to just like they actually built a wall.
Yeah, I know.
To separate, I guess, two different areas out of these blocks.
Yeah, it looks. They almost look like concrete blocks. Like you would say cinder blocks.
Yeah, but they're polypropylene, so they're plastic and shiny, and very, very cheap. So they said that when Rosen outlines her desire to expand Everblock to include windows and doors, it's easy to see how it becomes a new substrate for construction. And so they said, like all modular systems, Everblock's real benefit is in its efficiency. But with just 3 block versions, there are limitations to what you can build with the blocks. Don't expect a life-size version of LEGO's architecture series just yet. So still, you need to construct something quickly. Something like this could be a smart solution, i.e. emergency shelters. You could drop 2 pallets of these by helicopter, and the next thing you know, you have a solid, rigid structure. It's an intriguing thought for a new play on prefabrication modular housing. So, yeah, we're going to ignore the legality of all this. We're going to ignore that, hey, maybe, just maybe, Lego is going to sue them into oblivion. But we're going to say that if you needed some kind of emergency structure, these could do the trick. Find a nice large flat surface like in a parking lot or something like that and put these things together. I don't know if they're hurricane tested, but they could, keep the sun off your head and keep the rain off your head.
Yeah, exactly. By the way, I have just been informed that our guest has arrived, and so I think.
Oh, very nice.
All right, so I think we'll stop doing the computer news and introduce him. All right.
All right.
TeenSafe is the name of the company. As I mentioned, it's a monitoring service that allows parents to monitor their child's iPhone or Android smartphone, as well as view activity on Instagram, WhatsApp, and Kick Messenger. So when you sign into TeenSafe, your teen's smartphone data will be available for you to view. TeenSafe offers complete security, so only you can access your child's data. Now, joining us is the CEO of TeenSafe, Rodden Messenger. Rodden, welcome into Computer America. How are you?
Good evening, gentlemen. Thank you very much for having me.
Our pleasure.
Our pleasure.
So tell us a little about TeenSafe and what it actually is. Tell our listeners about TeenSafe.
Is your job to make every teenager mad?
TeenSafe was created by parents for parents. What we've seen in the last few years is a huge, as everyone can see, influx of smartphones into teenagers and kids' hands. In less than 5 years, we've gone from about 20% to over 80% of teenagers now have a smartphone. And it completely changes lives and has massive impacts on our kids' lives in such big ways. And when we started it, we saw that you couldn't parent fully a child's life if you weren't looking at their digital life at the same time, which is different from the days maybe when you had a laptop at home compared to a child that has a smartphone with them all the time. And we believe that just to let them, be completely unmonitored and be able to do anything on those phones is just opening the keys to things that maybe younger children and younger teenagers might not be ready for. So we created TeenSafe.
Now, the obvious question I think that some people would say is, is there a difference between monitoring your child and maybe spying on them, or they'll think that you're spying on them as parents, or micromanaging their social lives. I mean, how do you deal with that?
Yeah, that's a really important question, and it's very important that you don't breach your child's trust and you don't use TeenSafe to spy on them. We believe that you should use TeenSafe as a tool to really look out and keep your child safe. So a parent has many tough choices to make and many judgment calls to make. And using a tool like TeenSafe is one of those. So for example, you should, if you're worried about your child or you want to dip in and check everything's okay, and to find out what a particular issue you might be worried to see if it's true, TeenSafe's great. But if you're going to use it to replace the conversations at dinner or simply know every detail of their lives, well, we believe that's not the correct way of parenting. But the kind of issues that kids are facing that are accelerated highly by smartphones, things like sexting, which is a huge and very sadly common phenomenon. We know our kids' ability to make decisions, their frontal cortex hasn't been fully developed yet, and they don't understand the consequences of certain things. And the fact that a smartphone often removes time and place from social interactions, causing children to, do things that they might not necessarily do. I mean, I'll give you an example. I don't know how old you guys are, but when I was a kid, I couldn't have imagined anyone, especially a girl, taking an inappropriate photo of herself and photocopying it and handing it around school. But that's often what happens with sexting, and so that's just one of many, many cases where we see how smartphones have really changed and accelerated lives more than we know. And we're the first set of parents to ever hand these devices to our kids, and learning as we go along.
Well, yeah, this is all new stuff because I'm probably the youngest person in this conversation, and even me at the young age of 24, I didn't get a smartphone until I was 15, 16 years old. It's and by that time I had gotten to the point that I kind of understood the consequences, but parents are handing these devices out younger and younger. I guess the need for your product comes into play because this has never really happened before. This is all new.
Yeah, I mean, there's a very interesting piece of Pew Research that came out a couple of months ago that just said by 2020, 90% of 10-year-olds will have smartphones. I mean, the number gets younger and younger very quickly. And your parents sounded very wise, not giving you a smartphone until you were ready for it. Because the other thing about it is not just what can happen, it's preserving childhood and development away from what digital activity can do. I was speaking to somebody from the University of Pennsylvania just recently, and they'd done a study with a group of kids to look at how YouTube learning can affect them. And they showed them four different knitting videos and then interviewed them afterwards. And by the fourth video, over half of them said they could knit, having never picked up a knit, and so there are so many things, if you start to read and study about the effects of devices on our kids, from the way they socialize, to the way they learn, to the way they research, to the way they see the world. And I think most people will agree that this is a wonderful tool that can do all sorts of amazing things. It can help families. It can really, but if it's used in the right way and in a controlled way. And like I said at the beginning, just handing your child a smartphone and letting them get on with it, we think is just not a cool thing to do.
Right.
Well, now, is monitoring a child's phone totally legal?
Absolutely. It's legal in the US. We spend a lot of time researching this. We only market our service to parents. It's illegal to use this in anything but the following circumstance. You need to be the parent or the legal guardian of a child who is 17 or younger, so if they're over 18, our system will actually remove any child once their age that the parent puts in turns 18. That's number one. The other part is, we only offer it in countries where it's legal. In the US, it is legal. And we've done a state-by-state analysis of that, as well as all the federal rules. And thankfully, it is.
So should parents tell their children that they're monitoring their phones, or should they keep it a secret?
That's another brilliant, very insightful question. We say, yes, tell your kid, tell your child that you're doing it. A really great story just very recently, one of our users, quite innocent story, but it tells it. She was single mum, working mum, not close enough to her kid, child, a 13-year-old daughter having problems at school. She starts to use TeenSafe. She tells her daughter she's doing it. Neither realized what was going to be discovered. And the mother found that her daughter was a completely different person and behaving completely inappropriately on her device. And they had this encounter where mother was shocked, daughter was shocked that her mother was able to see so much. But they communicated, and mother had told daughter that they were doing it. And then they made an agreement to say, she said to her daughter, I'm only going to use this under these rules and in no other time. And that's my bond to you. And I promise you. And so the daughter now feels she has her freedom and trusts her mum. Mum feels she's got the security and knows that she can use it. So that's a perfect scenario. Unfortunately, for some older kids who might be more sort of wayward or not the best behaved, and we get it where certain parents haven't told their children at the beginning, and if they did, they feel if they did tell their children, their child would behave differently and maybe hide more and rebel. And in those cases, it's a really tough choice to make. I mean, it would not be ideal, but in certain situations, we understand that a parent might not be able to, or might not want to tell their child. But generally, we say do, and most we believe do from our studies.
So tell us how TeenSafe works. I mean, what do I actually have to do to set this up? How does it access the phone and the account?
It's pretty simple. It works very differently for iOS to Android. But you go to teensafe.com. We offer a free trial. Parent goes in. If it's an iOS device, you need to know your child's iCloud credentials or their Apple ID. It's the same thing that's associated with their device. Sometimes kids don't have that switched on, and the parent will have to make sure that it's switched on and backing up. And then once that happens, we go and get the data, from the backup and display it it's almost like grabbing your child's device. You can see, you already mentioned the list of things you can see. You can even see their deleted texts. And for Android, there's a process to install a little app on the device which has a password on, and it's quite hard to see if you don't want your child to know. But most importantly, if you don't want your child to be able to remove it, you can put a password on it so they can't. And again, once that, you can see everything. We're working on more services for Android. Right now, you can't see WhatsApp and Kik, but that's about the only difference.
Now, I think it would be fairly obvious, but are there any things that a parent should use to identify unhealthy technology use? I'm having difficulty hearing. There's so many children in the background screaming. So.
Sorry. Yeah. Can you hear me okay now?
Well, not really, but just why don't you answer my question about parents identifying unhealthy technology use?
Yes. They are, fairly obvious. There's lots of good stuff online for looking for understanding the acronyms and slang and hashtags that kids use. We have a great blog called teenology.com. That explains a lot of this information because, the old classic like POS, which means parent over shoulder, but there are many more, and children communicate in quite sophisticated ways that sometimes for us parents is hard to understand. So I suppose one thing is just really understanding language. The other thing is looking for time and frequency. Is your child sending texts late at night when they should be asleep? That's a very common problem. Are they sending too many texts while they're at school? That's another issue. We also, you need to look out for your child perhaps having different characters, that even though that's fine generally, but you can see children often develop different personas in their digital representations of themselves. And even though often that can be healthy, a parent might want to watch out to see what kind of things they're taking on. And then there's more obvious and scary things, perhaps like cyberbullying, evidence of self-harm, evidence of depression, understanding inappropriate behavior, looking out for use of porn. One of the big things we're seeing is children looking at porn at a very, very young age,
I understand.
not understanding it, and it's there instantaneously. It's not like we were when we were at school. It was maybe a magazine that was rented from a classmate. It's now there everywhere to get.
Let me ask you: does you have to install this on the phone? It's an app that you install, TeenSafe.
Only for Android. On iOS, you don't need to install an app at all. You just need to go to our website and create an account, and then you put in the iCloud username and password.
And how much does it cost?
It's $14.95 a month, and that's for as many devices as the parent likes. So sometimes your child might have an iPad and an iPhone, and another child might have Android devices. So you can add as many as you like, and it can be cancelled anytime.
Okay.
Right. Nice.
Very nice. Well, listen, Rod.
Gents, I'm sorry about the kids in the background, and it was a real pleasure talking to you. And those were great questions, and hope your audience learned a couple of things. And if they have questions, they can just reach out to us. We love to answer questions and help folks with these issues.
And it's teensafe.com is the website. And of course, you go to computeramerica.com and to see it there. I'm just out of curiosity. Are you at a school, or where are you?
No, I am at my home.
Okay.
Now.
Well, it sounds like a lot of kids are at your home, and it sounds like a lot of fun. They're having a lot of fun.
Good. I found the most quiet corner possible, so I apologize for the noise, but
that's right.
The kids.
Not a problem.
No one on their phones. That's one thing.
Exactly. All right. Listen, Ron, thank you so much for being with us here on Computer America. It was a pleasure having you, and best of luck.
Thank you, gentlemen. Have a great evening.
And you too. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right.
Bye-bye.
All right. There you go. TeenSafe. I don't know. If you were a parent, would you?
It's a nice tool to start the conversation you should be having. Yeah. Because it's hard sometimes to bring up that conversation, but if you know that it's happening, then there's no better time than immediately to act.
Well, we're going to continue with computer and technology news right after this. Stay with us. Hi, this is Craig Crossman, host of the Computer America Show. You have important meetings to schedule. Your company's getting ready for its IPO, and you're in charge of the PTA fundraiser this month. So how do you coordinate everyone to be available at the same time? Are you still using emails, phone calls, even text messages to schedule meetings with a group of people? How's that working out for you? Not so great, huh? It's a fact that every day, millions of people suffer from scheduling headaches. Well, with Doodle, scheduling meetings with a group of people is quick and easy. With Doodle, you can easily propose available times to each member. Each one checks off the times that they're available, and then you simply pick the time that works best for the group, all in an easy-to-read display that integrates with your existing calendar. Nothing could be more simple. Give Doodle a try for free, and like millions of Doodle users, you'll truly see how easy it is to find the perfect date and time for all your meetings. That's www.doodle.com. Looking for a best friend? Brother Wolf Animal Rescue has your best friend waiting just for you. The mission of Brother Wolf Animal Rescue is to help build a sustainable, no-kill community where no dogs or cats are ever killed for population control, where true euthanasia is reserved only for animals who are irremediably suffering or for animals who are truly a threat to society and with no hope of rehabilitation. Brother Wolf staff and volunteers go door to door, neighborhood by neighborhood, to educate citizens about local resources available for at-risk pets and to help their families connect with those resources. Brother Wolf's community-based approach to no-kill helps keep family pets healthy happy, and in their homes and out of the local shelter system in the first place. For more information or to make a tax-deductible donation to this wonderful 501c3 organization, visit their website at www.bwar.org. Help to realize Brother Wolf's vision when no animal is euthanized for lack of a home.
Who's a good boy?
I don't care if it is the ladies' room. I'm recording here. Hi, this is Marty Winston with a News Tips Bullet Review for Computer America. This time, the TP-Link RE210 AC750 Wi-Fi range extender. You set this one up with an exemplary browser-based procedure. Identify the source Wi-Fi separately at 2.4 and 5 gigahertz. Manually enter a password, either echo its SSID or create a new one, or use WPS. It took about a minute and resulted in a configured extender we can move to any outlet to be a dual-band Wi-Fi repeater. We should mention this product is fairly small. It's a wall wart with swing-up antenna ears, and it will occupy a lower outlet without blocking the upper. It can also act as a bridge through an RJ45 connector underneath. Bottom line, the TP-Link RE210 AC750 dual-band Wi-Fi range extender is configuration and operationally flawless. Marty Winston for News Tips Bulletin and Computer America.
Welcome back to the Computer America Show.
Yeah.
We just finished up talking to the CEO over at TeenSafe, and while yes, we know it was a little muddy of an interview, there was some background noise, some squeals. I believe we've gotten those kinks out, but yeah, it's I think we got a lot of good information out of there, and the product itself is pretty self-explanatory, and best of all, it's free for a trial version. So if you were interested in that, definitely go check out the website, try it for free. No risk, blah blah blah. And hey, it's like we said earlier, it's the right thing to do if you want to start that conversation.
Yes, but don't do it secretively. You can let them know that you're doing it.
Very much so.
That's very important. That's a very important.
Teenagers do not like being spied on. That's tantamount to walking into a room without knocking first. That's a big no-no.
Yeah. You want to let them know. At all ages, not only teens. I mean, even preteen. You need to.
Yes, keep them safe too. There's a lot of stuff on the internet that even you shouldn't. As a grown person, as a functioning member of society, even you shouldn't see that kind of things on the internet. So you never know what they're going to get into.
Yep, this is very true. All right, so as I said, Ben and I are going to continue to do computer and technology news. That's brought to you by Slimware Utilities, the official optimization software. And I think it's my turn to do this story. And even if it isn't, I guess I'll just do it anyway. This is from NZN. And they're talking about Microsoft is prototyping a keyboard cover with an e-ink display. E-ink, by the way, is electronic ink, which it doesn't require a lot of power. There's a lot of advantages to electronic ink as opposed to LED screens or LCD screens. And according to the story, basically, Microsoft Applied Science made this prototype device called Display Cover, one word. And it's a cover for a keyboard that can house an e-ink touchscreen display. So you can have access to app shortcuts. You can handle navigational touch gestures and accept stylus input as well. You can sign documents, like you're seeing in the video, if you're watching the video with Ben's screen there on our live streaming video. You can sign documents, scribble notes based whatever you want, and provided that you would like to use the app such as Photoshop, where you need to access a tool palettes, the things you can make those selection to, right from the cover. Now, I kind of described what e-ink is, but the main reason they selected e-ink was battery life, because it takes such little, tiny amount of current.
Like
in e-ink display.
The e-ink, it runs the current through, and the display kind of sets up the images, but then to hold the images takes no energy. Like the e-ink reorganizes itself, and then whatever it has reorganized itself to, that's it. That's what it is until it's wiped clear by the computer, or something else happens. But it doesn't cost any continuing energy. Like if you had like an LED display,
Yeah.
or an LCD display, and you had it on one picture, that would just drain the battery life continuously. It would be awful, but obviously not for a netbook.
It's like a little strip beneath your screen, and it's very, very cool. We're watching the video here, but Ben's right. I mean, if you have an image on it, you can kill the power, and it will still display the image. It's the power is only used to change the image on it, so it uses almost virtually no power. And what we're watching is a computer with a touch screen and the e-ink display, and it's showing somebody signing their own name on it. But then you can see little, what do they call them? For Windows 10 images, little graphics images that you can select, like from your start screen. You can do that. It has all that functionality. Now, I don't know if this is ever going to come to fruition. There's no, because it's basically a prototype. But I'd like to see something like that. It's got a 1280 by 305 resolution screen, and something I can see something like this being extremely useful. I mean, especially if you were going to sign something. You have these documents, and you would nice to sign them. And even signing on a touchscreen is kind of awkward with a stylus. But this, it's much more natural. It's on the same level as your keyboard. It's right above your keyboard. It's really cool.
I see it as a gimmick, albeit a clear. For some people, it's going to have a clear use case, and that's very interesting. But I see it as a gimmick in that this should not be installed on all computers. It's just not that kind of thing. If they came out with a line of netbooks, or they came out with a line of cheap laptops, and people really liked the idea, then yeah, keep that line. But if they ever tried to extend this to all laptops or all netbooks or what have you, I don't think it would fly.
Why don't they just sell it as an accessory? In other words, it's a strip. If you like something like this, you just stick it on your computer.
Well, people don't like accessories. That's a given fact. People like it all rolled up into one neat case. They don't want to have to keep track of things. They don't want to have to pack things up, multiple things up. They like it built in.
I mean, it's flat. You could have a sticky surface on it. You permanently stick it on top of your keyboard. It's there.
Most laptops and most other computers don't have a lot of spare space, and like if they engineered it with a certain amount of space that could possibly fit something, that's just wasted space for the other 60% of people who are going to use it. Well, no computer manufacturer engineers something with wasted space.
Well, wasted, just put it on top of where the function keys normally are or something. I don't know.
I mean, if you didn't want the strip, then what would you put there?
Or put it on
be wasted space.
Or just put it. Most laptops do, or notebooks have a wrist rest. Put it on the wrist rest. And have it down there.
This one doesn't.
Yeah.
Like even besides this whole extended e-ink touch display, this doesn't have a wrist rest. This is a very, very small again, this is just a prototype, but it's a very small prototype with no wrist rest.
Yeah, but they can make one with a wrist rest, and then or for a wrist rest. If your laptop has a wrist rest, then you can stick this on it. I don't know. Just
there are smarter people than you or I working at Microsoft that are probably going to make this a so-so success.
Okay. All right. Well, I thought we would tell everybody about it because it's kind of cool.
All right. Well, this next story should make anyone mad who happens to be a taxpayer or was a taxpayer. This one was hilarious. The title of the article was a quote, "We should put a metal detector on the other side, the laughable waste of TSA body scanners." Now, TSA body scanners, anyone who's visited an airport in the past 5, 6, 7, 8 years, really, a couple of years post 9/11, they've had to be subjected, in certain airports, they have been subjected to these full body scanners. They have full body sniffers, they have full body scanners, they have full body everything. But the scanners were of particular interest because when they first came out, they made a lot of hoopla because they were imaging people too well without their clothes. And people felt that was a violation of their privacy, which it was. I'm not going to argue that one. But so they made the resolution of the scanners even worse than they were when they were first shipped out to quote unquote protect people's privacy. And that led to an entire series of just horrible, what do you call it? Just horrible results when using these things. People were able to get guns past them. They were able to get contraband past them. They were able to get just about anything strapped to their body, and they were able to get it past these full body scanners that, here's a number for you. The TSA spent $160 million, $160 million of taxpayer money to put these things in, and they are a spectacular failure. And that's where the quote came from, was that they're so bad that a senator actually said that we should put a metal detector on the other side just to catch anything that the full body scanner fails to catch.
Well, I'm sorry, I just got interrupted with.
Oh, all right. All right. So, continuing on with it, a recent security audit found that the TSA had failed to find fake explosives and weapons in 96% of covert tests. 96% failure rate. And members of the Congress familiar with the classified details say the body scanners are to blame for much of the problem. So, just a nice little article pointing out the complete flub of a technological marvel that is the full body scanner and how it was supposed to keep you safe when really it was a huge $160 million money sink, and it does not make you safer and probably just makes you a little more awkward when you lock eyes with the person looking at your image, because they know it's not your shirt that's making you look like that. It's you that's making you look like that.
Exactly. Good point. We just got we got a question came in here from Robert, who asked a question, and I'm not sure exactly who it's directed to, but he wants to know how to get ad block, because we've talked about it before. And so I'll tell
we
you.
Use AdBlock Plus, by the way. AdBlock is a general service, but we use AdBlock Plus. Just want to throw that out there because there are different services, but of course, this one we use, so we're probably going to recommend that one.
Right, and this is, and you can go to our free software page, and you can see actually, if you go to computeramerica.com and you go to our free software page, you'll see ABP, AdBlock Plus, and it's there. However, if you want to go directly to the web, their website is adblockplus.org. ADBLOCKPLUS.org, adblockplus.org, and you can surf the web without ads. It's completely free, and
although if you are using a modern browser, not internet, not Microsoft Edge, because they don't have an app store yet.
Yeah.
But if you're using Chrome or Firefox, depending on what they call it, I know for Chrome it's extensions. For Firefox, it may be plugins.
It is a plugin, yeah.
Yeah, you would have to go into the extension library or the plugin library and find it there, and one or two clicks later, you'll have it, and you're off to the races.
Yeah, but if you do that, you can download it and it'll install. They actually, if you go to AdBlock Plus, it'll detect the browser that you're using, and it'll just say, for example, I'm using Firefox. It's like install for Firefox, and you just click the green button, and it'll install it for you. And then you have to restart your browser, and that's it. So, anyways, Robert, again, thanks for asking that question. Sorry we didn't get the answer to you sooner, but there it is, adblockplus.org, and you can get it for yourself. Okay, continuing the computer and technology news. We heard about the big announcement that DirecTV, AT&T purchased DirecTV customers.
Yeah, for like $60 billion or something like that.
So guess what Sprint is doing? They're offering DirecTV customers a free year of service. A free year. That's a novel thing to do. So
That's a lot of service.
Yeah, a novel way to lure customers away from AT&T. It's giving its service away for free. So if you have DirecTV and you have AT&T, guess what? You can get free cell phone service for a year. And I have DirecTV and I've got AT&T. I'm tempted to take them up on that. The offer includes unlimited voice calls, unlimited text messages, and 2 gigs of data. And the promotion begins Friday and runs through the 30th of September. Okay.
Not the best plan.
Say again?
Not the best plan.
Well, it's the 2 gigs of data is small. The other stuff
Again, every like if you find a phone carrier that doesn't offer unlimited voice calls and unlimited text messages, they are of so little importance nowadays that yes, it's nice to have it, and yes, when you need it, it's good to have, but data's where it's at. It's all about the data, and 2 gigs is on the low end of the spectrum.
Yeah, it is. But I'm not I haven't checked this out yet. Maybe they offer an upgrade, get more, because even if you added
upgrade,
I mean, let's say you paid for 8 gigs of data, so you can get 10 gigs. So you paid for additional 8 gigs. It's still going to be a lot less expensive than the AT&T service that you're using now. It's still a bargain, I would think. But I haven't checked it out. I don't know if you can do that. But now, this is the latest move in with a summer that was filled with aggressive promotions. In ways some were saying cut your cell phone bill in half. Some let you use your phones in Canada and Mexico without any roaming fees. Verizon shed its practice of offering service contracts and phone subsidies. They just took that off completely. All right.
Although I do like the quote here from AT&T, and they said they dismissed the promotion. They have a quote here. This ranks right up there with a desperate Hail Mary pass to a petite defensive lineman. With Sprint Network and the many asterisks in this deal, we're feeling good about our offerings. AT&T just said, we're not worried. Whatever.
Well, the article goes on to say that Sprint aimed to dash AT&T's hopes. DirecTV customers need to show a copy of their recent bill to verify their status to qualify for the order. And then customers also need to sign up for a leasing program, a monthly installment program for the smartphone, or buy a new smartphone outright. A household is eligible to sign up to 5 lines, each free for 12 months, though. That's pretty good. And if you can expand your data, on this free plan, so you pay, another $10, $15, $20, $20 a month, that's still going to be a lot less than what you're paying AT&T now. Sprint comes on saying, there's a quote here, it says, DirecTV customers love their TV service, but they still shouldn't have to settle for AT&T wireless. So they said, why not build the perfect bundle by going with the bundling with Sprint Wireless? So there it is. DirecTV, I really like DirecTV. I've sampled some of the other services out there. I've tried them, and so far to me, DirecTV seems to be the best. I mean, there's so many nice. When I use a service that it's not AT&T, I immediately feel all the things that are lacking that I know that I have on the DirecTV that I don't have on the other services.
I'll be the first to say I've been using AT&T for a while now. I have bones to pick with AT&T. Don't get me wrong, but I don't know. It's. I think a lot of people feel the way I do, and that's you're stuck between an AT&T and a Verizon. It's all the same, just different labels, and they throw out statistics and they throw out maps and coverage data and that kind of thing. But at the end of the day, there's really no clear-cut good choice.
Yeah, I mean, talking about the wireless stuff, but I'm talking about DirecTV.
Well, DirecTV is now owned by AT&T,
Right.
so
But the
so who knows what the business practices behind DirecTV is going to happen?
But the DirecTV service is what I'm saying. I've compared it with other.
The DirecTV service is now owned by AT&T.
Yeah.
Watch out for surcharges, service charges, maintenance charges. Watch out for all that kind of thing that will undoubtedly be coming down the pipeline through DirecTV from AT&T.
Well, okay, so there it is. So I think we have time for you to do one more story.
All right. One more story. If you don't want to talk about that one, all right, fine.
Well, I thought I said it. I said I like DirecTV service as opposed to the Uverse or the cables. It's just that the service has so many extra features that I've not found on the other services. I was just doing that the other day. I was using Uverse, and I wanted to find out information about a movie, the cast and characters. I couldn't do it. DirecTV, you can find out who was in the movie, all the different characters in the movie, what other films those characters have done, those actors and have done. You can't do that with the other service. That's just one example of many different features that they have on DirecTV that I don't find on the other TVs or cable services. So
okay,
all right.
This next one is, we haven't done much space lately, and I like space. Space is very, very interesting.
Final Frontier.
It's one of the final frontiers. I'll give you that. This one is from Popular Science, and let's pull the story up right now. Mm-hmm. If, as a kid, you ever asked the question when learning about black holes, what happens when one black hole meets another black hole? And the traditional response was, well, the more dense one eats the other one, spews out the radiation, and calls it a day. Well, here's what happens in a local quasar. And scientists have found a double black hole inside of that quasar.
Wow.
Weird.
That looks really weird.
Space is weird. So, yeah, the brightest objects in the universe have massive black holes at their hearts. Quasars, or quasi-stellar radio sources, can be brighter than entire galaxies, and they're thought to be fueled by the friction and heat of stuff that's getting swallowed up by a black hole. So, as it turns out, that the quasar nearest to Earth, located at a comfortable 600 million light years away, in a galaxy called Markarian 231, is actually built around two twirling black holes. This is the first time it's been found, and they think it could be a lot more quasars with binary hearts out there. So this all came from Hubble. Yes, the Hubble telescope. Hubble data revealed a mysterious hole in the quasar accretion disk, or the ring of gas that spirals around the black hole, waiting to fall in. After doing some modeling studies, scientists concluded that the system, there's no other option, must be made of two black holes, one large one and one smaller one orbiting it. That kind of also explains, well, how do you know? You can't see a black hole. Modeling. So eventually, as the article says, eventually they will collide. At the larger pair of the estimate is about 150 million times more massive than our sun, while the puny companion is only 4 million times the mass of our sun. In a few 100,000 years, the two will spiral into each other, resulting in only what we can guess would be, in a little bit of tongue-in-cheek here from the author, the end of the universe. Probably won't happen, but it's going to be a brilliant light and an awesome explosion. Doesn't even do it justice to what's probably going to happen. But so this the team that worked on this was based out of the U.S. and partly out of China, and thinks the binary formed when the two galaxies merged. The merger seems to have been good for the star forming business, with Markarian 231 burst stars at a rate that is 100 times greater than the Milky Way galaxy. Yeah, it's a little known fact about black holes, or well-known fact. I don't know what people know about black holes. That black holes actually spawn stars.
Yep.
that happens.
The center of every galaxy, they have that black holes. That was
Supermassive black holes.
Yeah, a fairly recent discovery that they're part of the formation of galaxies.
Yep. Quasars. And so they have a quote here saying that we are extremely excited about this finding because it not only shows that the existence of a close binary black hole in Markarian 231, but it also paves a new way to systematically search binary black holes via the nature of their ultraviolet light emissions. This, of course, coming from the National Astronomical Observatories of China, said in a press release.
Well,
No music.
oh, okay.
No music.
No music, exactly. Double black hole, though, that is it. I guess there's always a fascination with these things. And you're right, you said they're invisible, but they can be detected by the event horizon.
By their radiation.
By the radiation, right, exactly. But technically, you can see them, I guess, by the absence of light or the stuff that's surrounding them. That's it. But
there's also a warping effect because the gravity is so strong it actually warps the light around it. So not just the event horizon is even light that isn't pulled in. It just the gravity just bends reality. It's a very interesting thing to think about, but to actually study it and to come up with new techniques like the scientists did in finding this dual this binary black hole system, I wouldn't even begin to know the math involved in that kind of thing.
Jeez.
Because again, they had to take it probably to a supercomputer and run it through run it through a program with every single variable that they could possibly calculate.
Seconds.
Throw all the variables in there and see why this was happening. And what popped out was the only possible way this was happening was two black holes circling each other.
Well, tomorrow night we're going to have two guests coming up. We're going to have Sean Silikoff. He is a journalist for the Globe and Mail. He's going to be talking about this book called it's called Losing the Signal, which is kind of interesting. It's a book,
60
The
seconds.
Untold Story Behind the Extraordinary Rise and Spectacular Fall of the BlackBerry. It's going to be interesting. And then the second hour,
the company Research in Motion, who owns BlackBerry, would like a word with you because they're still around.
Exactly. And then in the second hour, we're going to have MHOX.
No, Mox. Jeez.
Mox. Right. MHOX. Mox is going to be on the show. They're a designer of these organic kind of structures that fit the body, and that's going to be very interesting. And we're going to have both of them on tomorrow night. Anyway, that about wraps it up. Thank you so much for being with us here tonight, and Ben and I will see you tomorrow night. So until tomorrow night, this is Craig Crossman hoping that your hard disk never becomes floppy. We'll see you tomorrow night.
10 seconds.
Good day, everyone.
Thank you for using Blog Talk Radio. Goodbye.
Okay, again, everybody, thank you for watching tonight, and have a good evening. And Ben and I will see you tomorrow night, same time, same station. Take care. Bye-bye.
Night, everyone.